which will take us on to JSA issue 7. Geoff Johns and David Goy are writing with Steven Sadowski on the art. And this is the start of, I think it's a two-parter. That's just from memory, though, admittedly. So, I mean, I can't be doing that for the whole run. But I've read this part of the run before, so I think it's a two-parter.
I mean, I've read the whole run before, but I couldn't tell you which ones are many parts.
I mean, it's at least a two-parter, because it's, it's not over.
Well, yeah, I mean, I know it's at least 2, but I mean, if this ends up being 3 or 4, I mean,
sure.
I don't think it is, because I know we've got the Wildcat issue in this trade as well.
And it's coming soon. It has to be coming soon. If anything, it may actually happen concurrently with what happens in this, or at least the next issue.
It might be.
Yeah, when they're all away doing this, that's when he's having his little adventure. So yeah, it's called Darkness Falls. This little arc, which not to be confused with the horrible 2003 horror film starring Emma Caulfield, who of course was on the hit television show Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
No. You already had your Buffy reference.
There's no quota. So there's a tease at the start of the issue of like Dinah running from something, right? And she's diving out of a window, she goes through a flag, lands in a car, feels quite brutal. There's shadows.
Yeah, she tries punching at one point, she just punches straight through. Yeah,
there's shadows chasing her, she tries punching. It's super intimidating.
And one of the shadows are really recognizable in this twisted, demented way.
Yeah, one's clearly Jay Garrick, one's clearly Our Man, one's clearly Hawk Girl. So it teases this, and it says, okay, earlier that morning, we come back, and it's actually Jade we start on. Jade, who's got like a sort of link to her brother, Todd. And Obsidian, for anyone who's not. This is one of these weird things as you're reading these issues, is like there's a lot of connections with these characters that it's hard to kind of keep track of if it's your first time. And even I, having read this before, like I'm like, okay, I'm just remembering, okay, so brother, sister, they're both Alan's.
I think that's one of the
kids.
things that this issue is so good at is, okay, so we're 3 panels onto this page. We'll introduce her. So she wakes up, she's cutting herself, and you're like, who's this? And then she looks at the picture, and it's her and Obsidian, and it says Todd, and you've got Alan Scott there behind them, and it's okay. And she talks about him being her brother, and it's like, okay, it's clearly saying this is a family portrait.
And
then even by the end of this page, she's on the phone saying, "Is Alan there? Tell him it's his daughter." So it's like all of this is there on that first page. And
amusingly, the very next page is also a family connection, because it's Hector coming in to talk to Kendra. He said, "Oh, technically we're cousins," because
she wants nothing to do with it.
Yeah, she's not interested in even listening to this. She wants to be left alone. And we have a bit of we talked about the video store dating the Birds of Prey issue a little bit. Here, Stargirl's trying to watch Felicity on the TV, which there was a show called Felicity. It's not just some weird omen of the Arrow TV show, but obviously there's a weird like jolt you get by hearing that name now if you had to suffer through that.
In reference to anything DC related.
Yeah, but she's upset that TV's not working properly.
Because there's going to be a news broadcast.
She's like, how do I fix this? It's like, well, they're not broadcasting it, so you can't fix it.
It's an emergency news broadcast. You just have to wait it out.
Yeah, so basically, what city was it actually? It's in Milwaukee. So it's a state, not Milwaukee. Yeah, it's a city. Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Yeah. That's in Wisconsin, yeah. I just questioned myself for a second, is Milwaukee a state or a city? It's a city.
I was like 100% sure it was a city until you said, or is it a state? And then I went,
do you know what it is? It's because I immediately thought of Wayne's World, because in Wayne's World, they're in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And I had a moment. But anyway, right. So basically, there's no shadows in the city, which is really. Do you know what? Do you know what the sad part of this is? Is that so much comic art will cheat and not bother with shadows that I almost feel like this premise would actually work better as an episode of a TV show or a movie, because the visual of it would be so surreal on film.
Yeah, and do you know what bothers me even more?
Yeah.
Is that it actually looks like there is still shadows, like more than usual. So I'm noticing it. So we get there, and it's Kendra's wings, and it's the way she's stood. They're casting a shadow between themselves, and I get the artist has to do this to show that illusion of depth. I understand why that's there, because otherwise this image just looks flat and wrong, and it doesn't work for us.
Yeah,
but I'm kind of going, that's clearly a shadow there.
Before we get there, though, they've got a little shuttle thing that takes them to their aircraft hangar, where Courtney's stepdad Pat has worked on a jet for them. to get around.
Very X-Men, this, isn't it?
Yeah. Do you know what I love about this is that we're still kind of in the early days of this run, and they're still setting up kind of like what the status quo is, and they've got a headquarters, they've got a jet now, like they're really setting this up. Stripes there in one panel, just kind of hanging out. So they set all this up, and like you say, they go to Milwaukee, and they go to Tim Rice, I want to say his name is, Jim Rice, the stepdad, who's not been great to Todd, but they find like in his chair, because this was teased a couple issues ago, the cliffhanger was teased, a little epilogue scene, and he's actually there as a shadow. Like there's no shadows in the entire city, but there's like a living shadow, or living's maybe not the right word, but just a shadow of a man as a full figure just sitting in this chair. And of course, we get this creepy moment where it smiles at them. Like you see the mouth open.
The eyes. You just see the eyes and the teeth, and it's like, well, that's terrifying as shit. And
it swallows Alan Scott. It just swallows him into his body, and then that's where the issue really gets going, where these shadow demons start going around, and it infects a few of the members first. Jay, our man, and Sand are the first to get attacked, I think. And then it spreads to more of them. So clearly, we can already start to see how this is going to get to the point where we're at the opening, where Black Canary's on her own, kind of running from shadowed versions of the various members. And then inside the shadow lands, I think they call it, you got Alan with Jim Rice in there, and he's terrified. Outside, Courtney and Atom Smasher are trying to like save people, but at this point, some of the characters are already evil.
That's one of my favorite panels. Is Al just looking at? He's holding the car up, and he just looks over his shoulder and says, "Oh no!" And you just see these shadows of Kendra and Jay there, and it's terrifying. They're so demonic.
Oh yeah, and then Obsidian finally shows up, and he's there. He's like, "Don't worry, Al. It'll all be over soon."
Yeah.
So yeah, and then we get Ian Carkle, and this is one of these things where I'm sure if like you want to do your history searching and find out all these old comics where these things appear, I'm sure they're all there. I'm sure they all exist. But this is my only or my first like introduction to Ian Carkle. So
yeah, me too. But I mean, it works. It gives you everything that you need here.
Yeah. So no, it's good. He feeds on shadows. Like Mr. Rice's, and basically he's working with Todd here. And they make up a point of letting us know as well. Alan explains it to the team that Todd has mental health problems, and he's always kind of struggled with them, and this is kind of what's been exploited by this Carkle character here. But he's trying Alan's trying his best, and he can't quite win, because this is his world that he's in. There's nothing he can do. And he's like, "Oh, what did you do to my son?" He's like, "Oh, nothing he secretly desired, or nothing that he didn't secretly desire." So really good stuff. So you have Atom Smasher, Black Canary, and Stargirl sort of like tied up in this shadow sort of tendrils, while the rest are working with Obsidian. And Stargirl's like, "I think I can blast the back of your restraints, Black Canary," which leads to the opening with her running from everyone. And the big cliffhangers, we sort of skip ahead to the end of the chase. We don't go through the same beats.
I really appreciate that, because it would have been easy to kind of show us a slight different version of that.
Yeah.
With showing us what's chasing her, and fill up your page count if you'd wanted to do that. But it just cuts ahead, just says this is now, and it's right back where we left off. Yeah,
and out of nowhere, there's like she's getting grabbed by all these shadow figures. It's proper horror movie stuff, and there's
just a hand coming out of the blackness.
Yeah, and there's a blast of white light. And she looks up, and I love the detail. She has to use her hand to like cover her eyes because it's too much light.
And there's an actual shadow as well, like Casper, which makes sense here. It works really well.
And the final page is the reveal of who's shown up here, and it is Dr. Midnight, who I didn't even realize he hadn't shown up yet. I remembered him being a member of the team, and it just never occurred to me, oh yeah, he's not been around yet. I'm like, oh yeah, Dr. Midnight, yeah. So he's shown up to help, and that's a big cliffhanger going into next issue. So we're still building more members of the team. We're still adding more to the roster.
It's a pretty huge team by the end.
It is, yeah.
People go in and out, don't be wrong. But in terms of the total collective of potential members at any time, it's unwieldy.
Yeah, so now really good stuff again. Like I'm loving the team building. I'm getting the dynamics. Just one of the pairings that I'm really liking so far is Stargirl and Wildcat. Just that's a couple of times that I've had little interactions between them, They just kind of play really well. So when she's trying to mess with the TV and he comes out in his crutches. A couple issues ago was when she was cutting the ribbon. It may have been last issue, the issue before, but
I think that was last issue.
All really good stuff. I love delving into the family life of like Alan Scott, and I expect we'll do that with a lot of the other characters as we go. Obviously, Kendra's going to get a lot of time soon when we get into the Hawk stuff, but really digging all the world building, and like we say, the art's really solid. Especially here, it has to be very, very inventive here because it's doing these these pitch black shadow people, and then this world without shadows, so it's kind of the opposite. So
it's some real nice contrast going on there.
Yeah,
some really solid work.
Yeah, what are you giving it?
I'm gonna give it I'm gonna give it an 8, just about.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with it as well. So, really solid stuff.